Hello and welcome to Iridium Rock and Metal Review. So today we're going to do the best songs of 1996, and I'm afraid for me not a great one, but some, the songs I have got are good, but not the best year in rock and metal for me. So it's going to happen, innit? Especially through the 90s. What I've got 6 songs. Not a lot, is it? Not a lot considering, out of the whole year, 6 is a bit shit. But there are some good songs on some good albums. So it's not numerous amounts of albums. That's the problem with 96. So because we're sort of seeing grunge is sort of gonna making its way out, or the bands are not so popular now. So it's a bit of a difficult time for rock and metal, because obviously the hair metal's gone now. So I don't know, I was never a big fan of extreme or thrash metal. So, these are the songs that I like. So that's why there's not many, I suppose, because I wasn't into that genre of metal. But, there is 6. We do 6 to 1, the usual. My least favourite of my favourites. And we go number 6, I Died For You from Iced Earth. This is from the Dark Saga album. So they had Burnt Offerings, which was a real dark album. This one was a lot more melodic, more my sort of thing, really. But it was still heavy. They still had their thrashy elements in there in the early days. But it was a great album still. But they didn't quite, for me, hit their peak of what I liked. I liked it when they became even more melodic and more epic-y and stuff. But I Died For You is a great song. That's my number 6. My number 5, Pearl Jam, Present Tense from No Code. So at the time, big Pearl Jam fan. I was a huge Pearl Jam fan, but I could notice the decline in the albums for me. Their debut, Versus, and even Vitalogy was, real up there. And then I noticed from this album, you start to see a big change in their direction. They wasn't as heavy. The influences from, I don't know why, but Neil Young. I was never into Neil Young, his music, but they seem to sort of be taking a influence from him, doing some stuff with him as well, and I just didn't like it as much. I preferred them when they were full on rocking, but to say that though, Present Tense is a beautiful song stuck on an alright album for me. The problem with Pearl Jam is that apart from their first couple of albums, they haven't really stayed with me at all through the years, and now I can, they might be in the car on a shuffle or something like that, but they're not something I go to put on, which is a shame. It's just the direction they decided to go in, but that's fair enough for them. But I much prefer the first 2 or 3 albums. So that's my number 5. My number 4, Pantera and War Nerve from the Great Southern Trendkill. So they didn't fuck about, Pantera. They did. I don't know, they could have gone after Far Beyond Driven. They could have gone in a less heavy direction, similar to what Metallica did. After And Justice for All, they decided to go in a different direction. But Pantera, they really, at any stage, they could have gone and mellowed out a little bit, been a bit more commercial. But if anything, with this album, they went the other way. Full on. Sometimes for me, a bit too much, because, like I say, I'm not into the extreme metal, but I picked War Nerve because I think it's just, I love the lyrics. I love how aggressive Phil Anselmo is in this. I don't know, when he does sometimes when he does that talking through a song, I think it's great. He sounds really menacing, and I love this song. It's not a fast song, but it's so heavy. War Nerve is a brilliant song. That's my number 4. My number 3, sort of going in the opposite direction now, musically. Journey, A Message of Love from Trial by Fire. So Journey are one of my all-time favourite bands. I love Journey. I think they've even created excellent music with all their singers. You know, all the singers they've had, they've created some great music. But obviously Steve Perry, I don't know, I was listening to some of this music yesterday, Steve Perry, when he was in Journey, and I don't think anyone can compare to his soulful voice. Obviously at the time, you know, I don't think his voice is quite as strong and can hit the notes that he hit back then, but who can at that age, you know, but he's still got a great voice. But this was his big return to Journey. I think the album failed commercially, but I think it's a great album. It's one that could be sort of forgotten about a little bit because of the great albums that Journey have had, and this is one that's sort of, you know, not treated with as much respect as it should be, in my opinion. When Steve Perry just sings over anything, it's just, he just brings it to life. Brilliant singer, brilliant band. That's my number 3. My number 2. So we're talking about grunge. So we're going to go Soundgarden now, from the Down on the Upside album and Zero Chance. So this was a bit of a different direction for Soundgarden. They sort of got more mellower as they went on in their career. Obviously, they're a real sort of raw sound at the beginning, and then they went Bad Motorfinger, which was still in that raw category. Then they went to Super Unknown, which was a huge hit, but it was still heavy and dark, and you know, definitely, you know, they sort of sticking to their guns a little bit. But this sort of went even more a bit commercial. But I loved the album. We're quite on par with Super Unknown. But a great album, full up with real catchy stuff, but psychedelic stuff at the same time. And Zero Chance is my pick off this, and I think it's just, I love it when they slow it down and do their little, it's not so much Sabbathy, this one, but when they do their sort of slower songs. And I'll tell you what, when I was picking this song, really reminds me of the Temple of the Dog stuff. You know, a little bit, tiny little bit of southern sort of music in with it as well. Zero Chance is a brilliant song. That's my number 2. And my number 1 is Rage Against the Machine, Balls on Parade from Evil Empire. So I don't rate this album nowhere near as much as the debut. You know, if anything, I think the album after Battle of Los Angeles was even better. Even their covers album I thought was better than Evil Empire, just my opinion. But it did have some really good tracks on it. You know, I chose Balls on Parade. I think it's the first song off the album, released as a single. Real aggression in it. The usual from Zach De La Rocha, spitting out those raps, you know what I mean? No one done it better than him through this period of rap. No one touched him, you know. There was no one better than Zach De La Rocha. Absolutely love the band. I'm not into the political side of music, hardly at all. I don't know enough about politics really to you know, have an opinion. You know, I haven't got that much time in my life to worry about who's bullshitting or not, but they all do, don't they? So, but, you know, obviously they do stick to their guns, Rage Against the Machine. They not give a fuck about who they tell how it is, you know what I mean, how they feel, and that's obviously one of the things about them, you know, that's what's made them a success. So that's my number 1. So not a great year, but, you know, tell me your favourites, 1996, what your top track is, what your top 10 tracks are. Let me know if I've missed anything, maybe I could do a reaction. Press the red button, bottom right hand corner. Cheers.